Girivarada Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Dana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jana Vallabha Girivarada Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda. Jayo Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda Radhe. Jaya Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman, Jaya Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman. Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol. Haribol. Thank you.
I forgot your name. Kia. Okay. Sadanandi. That's it. Yeah. Okay, so we just did the prayer. Jayam Vishnu Pada Pramahamsa Parivrityaksha Astureta Sata Srimati His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jaya. Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Pravikshacharya Astutrata Sata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jaya Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jaya Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya प्रेम से क्या हो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय Tulsi Devi Ki Jaya. Sorry. So Tulsi Devi Ki Jaya. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jaya. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jaya. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 1. Do you have Bhagavad Gita? You can have it on the okay. So it's 9:1. Hare Krishna. Please take a seat, please. Hare Krishna. Would you like to join here, or are you okay? Are you comfortable there? Okay, that's whatever is comfortable for you. That's all right. Chapter 9, verse 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Idam tu te guyat mam pravakshiyam anasuyave yanam vijnana sahitam yagyatva mokshya se shubhat Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guyatamam Pravakshiyami anasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam Yagyatva mokshya se shubhat idam tu te guyat mamam pravakshyami anasuyave Jnanam vijnanam sahitam yagyatva mokshya se shubhat. Thank you very much. Would anybody like to read? Would you like to read it? You read it? We repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guyatamamam Pravakshyami anasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam Yagyatva mukshase shubhat. Thank you. Excellent. Would you like to read? No? Just try. It's okay. It won't be worse than me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tute guyatamam Prayakshyami anasuyave Jnanam vijanam sahitam Yagyatva mukshaye subhat. Perfect. Really good. Thank you. Well, it's there. Would you like to read? Please try.
No, we have never read this before.
Just, it's okay. Just try it.
Shri Bhagavan
Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Idam tute
Idam tute guyatamam
guyatamam
Prayakshwami anasuye Jnanam vijnana sahitam Yagyatva mokshase subhat. Thank you so much. I know it is very daunting, but it was great. You did very well. Aditi, would you like to read? Please try.
Oh, thank you.
No? You, please. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tute guyatamam Pravakshyami anasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam Yagyatva mokshase subhat. Thank you. Thank you very much. You change your mind? Would you like to do? Mataji? Yes? Try? You? No? Pass. Prabhu is meditating. Thank you so much. Hopefully, when we read the verse and the purport, the same way we all take part in the discussion. Okay, word by word translation. Please also repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Idam, this, to, but, te, unto you, Guyatamam, the most confidential, Pravakshyami, I am speaking, Anasuyave, to the non-envious, Gnanam, knowledge, Vijnana, realized knowledge, Sahitam, with, Yat, which, Jnanatva, knowing, Mokshyase, you will be released. Ashubhat, from this miserable material existence. Thank you. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Thank you. Purport. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. Well, this is what we're going to do today, to discuss the topics about the Lord. And I know that we are all devotees of Krishna. We are not mental speculators. We're just going to discuss what is said here in the Bhagavad Gita. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement toward spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. Then in the 2nd and 3rd chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Do you know what is the 2nd and 3rd chapter? Bhagavad Gita? Do you know the title? It's basically the summary of Bhagavad Gita, but the main part of it is Sankhya Yoga, basically, that we are not the body, we are a spirit source. So that is known as the ABC of spiritual knowledge. And then 3rd chapter is Karma Yoga. So here Prabhupada says they are confidential, right? Topics discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service, and because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. 7th chapter is knowledge of the absolute truth, and the 8th chapter is attaining the Supreme. So it gives us more information, especially about attaining the Supreme, but it is more confidential than the beginning knowledge. We will discuss what does it mean to be confidential, but then, but the matters which are described in the 9th chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated, and the 9th chapter is what we are starting today. And actually the title of the chapter is also the most confidential. but also it has another title, this chapter. Do you know the Sanskrit title for this chapter? Raja Vidya. Raja Vidya. Do you know the meaning of it? Raja, the king of all knowledge. Yes. It is so important, this part of Bhagavad Gita. Actually, it's put into a small booklet, Raja Vidya, and discusses about this, the king of knowledge, what it is, why is it called the king of knowledge. Therefore, this is called the most confidential, one who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, that anyone who is engaged in that way is liberated person. Now, this first verse has a specific significance. The words idam jnanam, this knowledge, refer to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities. Do you know the 9 different activities of devotional service? Yes.
Chanting.
Yes.
Remembering.
Mm-hmm.
Worshipping. Praying. Obeying.
Yes.
Serving. Maintaining friendship. And surrendering.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Who knows the Sanskrit of these? Okay, let's try it. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. The same order as you said. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. This is the first section, the confidential part. But Prabhupada is saying that it's not sufficient. It's important, of course, it's the ABC of spiritual knowledge, but not sufficient. That may be the beginning of a spiritual realization. But one should recognize the difference between activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior nature, and all this material manifestation. Now, in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately. Because they are envious of Krishna, their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So, such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Jai Radha Gokulananda ki jaya, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jaya, Gauranitai ki jaya. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. I just do a short prayer and then we continue with the discussion. If you know the prayer, please follow me. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahakana Lalita Shri Visakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastete Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Virshabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Tute Guyatamam Pravakshyami Anasuyave Gyanam Vijnanam Sahitam Yatva Muksyase Shubhat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Hare Krishna. There's a lot. There's a lot here we have in the verse and in the purport. The main points in the verse, Krishna is talking about the most confidential knowledge, and the person who is qualified to hear this most confidential knowledge, and what is the benefit of it. What does it do for us, this most confidential knowledge? Still, Krishna is not telling us what is this knowledge. He will tell us later in the tomorrow's verse, and then further it tells us what this knowledge is. But of course, Prabhupada in the purport, he gives us a hint about it, which we will discuss. But in the verse, Krishna first is telling Arjuna that he is giving him this knowledge because he is not envious. He is never envious of him. And this seems to be a very important qualification. He doesn't say anything else. He doesn't, so many qualities, the devotee should have, but here it just says, because you are never envious of me, I'll give you this knowledge. And this is repeated in a few other verses. In chapter 18, Krishna says, "This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me." Well, it adds a little bit more to it, but still non-envious is there. Anasuyave. Again in 1871, Krishna says, "One who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell." And Prabhupada, and Krishna says, actually, we should not speak Bhagavad Gita to the envious people. It doesn't mean, Prabhupada explains in the purport that it doesn't mean that you have to be devotees of Krishna. He actually says sometimes you have an open forum somewhere and a lot of people come and you don't know if they are devotees of Krishna or not, but still we speak Bhagavad Gita because there are still a lot of non-envious people among them which they will benefit hearing about Bhagavad Gita. And then Prabhupada at the end of the purport, he explains this. He says the Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is very important. And then Prabhupada refers to actually people who write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. They may be materially, they may be very scholarly. They may have read Bhagavad Gita, really, they may maybe even know all the verses by heart and all that. But Prabhupada says they write their own commentaries based on their own speculation. And the main thing, and Prabhupada says they are envious of Krishna. What does that mean, to be envious of Krishna? What do you think? What does that mean?
For me, it's like wanting to take control. Like we're envious that Krishna is in charge and we want to be in charge.
Exactly.
If we want to be in charge, we can't let Krishna be in charge.
Exactly. Whenever we are envious of anything, or when people have something, we just want to have what they have. Whether it's a position, whether it's a wealth, whether it's whatever they have, we are envious because we want to be in their place. So as you said, Krishna is the main controller, but when we want to be in control ourselves, then we are envious of Krishna. We want to take charge. And Prabhupada says many people write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, and they deny the position of Krishna as the Supreme Lord. And so they speculate about Bhagavad Gita, and this we should be very careful. That's why there's so much emphasis on Bhagavad Gita as it is. Do you know what does as it is mean? Pardon? Without commentary. Well, Prabhupada has written commentaries, right? But he is telling us, he's explaining Bhagavad Gita as it is, the way that Arjuna understood, the way that Krishna presented to us as a Supreme Lord. He actually explains in the introduction, he says actually why he has written his purports. In fact, he says, somebody asked him, there are so many translations of Bhagavad Gita in English. with commentaries. Why, Prabhupada has written another one. And he explains, he says, yes, not only in America, but also in India, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English. But as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative, because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinion without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is that Krishna is the supreme Godhead. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. And Prabhupada kind of gives us an analogy that when we want to take a medicine, we follow the label, on the medicine, or follow the instructions of the doctor. We shouldn't just try to say, okay, it's a good medicine, I just take it the way I like to take it. He says, we cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the direction of the label on the medicine. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken and accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Do you know the meaning of Bhagavan? Yes? God? Yes? Can you break it down a bit? What does that Bhagavan mean? What does God mean, basically? The supreme leader? Yes? Any other definition? You know?
I forgot it because I read it.
Right. That's fine, no problem. I have read it many, many times until I was able to remember. Yes. Well, Bhaga means opulences, right? And Van means the one who possesses. So Bhagavan means the one who possesses all the opulences. And there are actually 6 opulences. Do you know the 6 opulences? That anybody has, everybody has a little bit of some of it, like that. The opulence means the things that kind of makes you go, wow, this person should be really great. Wisdom, knowledge, yes. Beauty, yes. What makes you go, wow, if you see something in somebody? Fame, yeah. We all we are attracted to famous person. We are attracted to beautiful person. We are attracted to a knowledgeable person. Anything else? Strength, power. If somebody, either physical power or a position, in the society, we are naturally attracted to. Yes? Anything else? Kindness and love, yes, but we could put it like kindness as love. How we could translate it to the opulences. Wealth, yes, definitely. If someone is wealthy, we are attracted to. Yes. Renunciation. Yes, somebody who has everything but still renounces, is very, very attractive. I'm wondering, you mentioned about love and kindness. Let me see. We can, here, let's read it from Prabhupada. He says the word Bhagavan, the meaning of it, I explained, the possessors of all opulences. And And he says, Prabhupada explains that it is, well, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan. Even this verse, today's verse, starts by Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. No place, throughout Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is speaking, never says Krishna Uvacha. It says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, wants to emphasize that this Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, the one who is speaking this Bhagavad Gita, the friend of Arjuna who is in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, is actually Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. He is God, basically, like you said. But, God is a very generic name. We need to know what does it mean, why we call somebody God. In fact, Prabhupada says, the word Bhagavan the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any, even sometimes powerful demigod. Sometimes they call, other demigods or even some powerful person in the society, they call them Bhagavan. And certainly, Bhagavan, this Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is a great personality, but at the same time, we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all great acharyas and in all the Vedic literature. And he claims, and he establishes himself in Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme Godhead. And in other literature, Brahma Samhita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they all confirm that. And so he says that the Lord informs Arjuna that this, I'll just miss that part. So here we are hearing from Bhagavan, and he says what? He says that, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So we discuss a little bit about being non-envious, and we don't go too much details into that because whoever comes here, they are in different levels of being devotee of Krishna. So we all can hear this confidential knowledge. But what is this confidential knowledge, and why we should hear it? What does it do for us? Prabhupada explains in the purport that this verse has a specific significance. It says, idam jnanam, this knowledge. And he says it refers to pure devotional service. As he explained further in the purport, we just touched on that the beginning of Bhagavad Gita is about we are not the body, we are a spirit soul, and then goes further that we are the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and our constitutional position is to what? To serve the Lord, right? But how to, so kind of covers some confidential knowledge and then more confidential knowledge. But it says this is here talking about the most confidential knowledge, how to serve the Lord, right? And Prabhupada says, here this verse refers to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities. Let's go through it again. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. This first time these 9 activities of devotional service, it was mentioned by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 7. And then many places, Prabhupada reminds us about these 9 activities. And in fact, I'll read a little bit. In Shri Ishupanishad, Prabhupada also in the Mantra 17, he reminds us about these 9 devotional services. He says, all the devotional service to the Lord consists essentially of 9 transcendental activities: hearing about the Lord, glorifying the Lord, remembering the Lord, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, worshiping the Lord, offering prayers to the Lord, serving the Lord, enjoying friendly association with the Lord, and surrendering everything unto the Lord. These 9 principles of devotional service, taken all together or one by one, help a devotee remain constantly in touch with God. In this way, at the end of life, it is easy for the devotee to remember the Lord. So the purpose of all these devotional activities ultimately is to remember the Lord at the time of death. Because this is what actually chapter 8 ends up with. Chapter 8 is all about attaining the Supreme, and it gives different ways in different yoga system that you can actually, at the time of death, you can achieve, you can go back to the spiritual world. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us that the easiest and most sublime way is by hearing about Krishna and chanting and speaking about him, hearing his glorification and speaking about his glorification. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Whatever we hear throughout our life, if there is a song played all the time, we just unconsciously, it comes to our mind, doesn't it? If somebody, has a kind of, some certain, somebody, talks to you all the time, you just remember the things that you hear most of the time. And also, we naturally speak it as well. So here Krishna says, well, use that inclination to hear about Krishna and to speak about Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam. If out of all these 9 activities of devotional service, if we just do these 2, then Vishnu Smaranam will come, Smaranam, remembering Krishna, automatically will happen. And Krishna promises that if we remember Krishna at the time of death, then we will go back to the spiritual world. And this is how, he says in today's verse, he says, when we know this confidential knowledge, it will free us from the miseries of material existence. So how by hearing about Krishna and speaking about Krishna, remembering Krishna, how we will be free from the miseries of material existence? We all do, whatever we do in life, we just want to be happy and have no difficulties and miseries. Everybody wants to be happy. Here Krishna gives us a really easy formula. Right? Hear about me, speak about me, remember me, and you will be free from the miseries. Do you believe that? Could that happen? How it could happen? We won't come back. Yes. When we die, we don't come back to this material world. This material world, okay, there are some happiness, but it's like a prison house. Like, good and bad is, comes and goes like that. It's never completely joyful. But the spiritual world, no, it's like that. But also, while we are, he says that it's still living in the material world, we can be liberated. How we can be, still before going back, before dying, how we can be happy by hearing about Krishna and speaking about Krishna. What do you think?
Attachment, so it means that, like you're saying, like the waves, when life goes up and life goes down, it's still constant. It doesn't matter what the material world is doing.
Right.
It focuses on Krishna.
Yeah,
It's like the boat.
yes, so you're saying that this, we won't be affected by the ups and, we are in a boat. This material world is like an ocean with the waves, but we are in the boat of Krishna consciousness. Okay, we will go a little bit up and down, but we won't be thrown into the ocean and, whatever, happens. Yes, so it gives us this protection. So let's do a little bit of Shravanam and Kirtanam. You all know the Maha Mantra? Yes? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we've done two most important activities of devotional service. Shravanam, we heard the names of the Lord, and Kirtanam, and we chanted the names of the Lord. And hopefully, if we do that, at least, regularly every day, but practicing devotees, they chant 16 rounds every day. So if we do that every day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we won't forget Krishna. Jaya, Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita ki Jaya. The curtain is going to open. If you please stand up, and there will be kirtan, and you can all continue chanting.
श्री 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 राधा गोकुल नंद की, सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, गौर निताय की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। की बजाया जया गौर चंदे, आरती का शोभा। की बजाया जया गौर चंदे, आरती का शोभा। की बजाया जया गौर चंदे, आरती का शोभा। ढाकीने नीता चंद, बावे गदारा। जानावी दातावाने जगमनलो
mrudanga baje paramarasala madhura mrudanga baje paramarasala शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे